And good morning again. This is Alan Proethis, CEO of Capstone Partners. Today I'm here with Adam Benzion, co-founder of Hackster.
That's right. Thanks,
so
Alan.
welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome to this crazy party. And
I know.
And especially for you, it probably feels like old home week because you come from a developer ecosystem world, and we're surrounded by developer ecosystem for LoRa.
Yes, you're absolutely right. It's like walking around a big family. You meet so many people you haven't seen in years, so it feels very friendly and familiar. It's great to be here.
Wonderful, wonderful to have you. Well, I know you've been involved in ecosystem forever. I mean, that's your core business.
Correct.
For many years.
Yeah.
And I think it's been this incredible transition, especially in IoT, that people realize there's so many moving pieces in these solutions, and from a business and technical side, no one can almost do this by themselves.
Absolutely.
So I think Hackster is really about solving some of the problems of how do you get these things together faster, better, to everyone's benefit. So maybe start out by maybe explaining exactly what Hackster is.
Cool, I will, and you touched on it perfectly. That it's only, even Hackster is only a tiny piece of the actual solution and the big picture. So Hackster is a large community. For those of you who know Hackster, it's about 1.3 million developers worldwide.
Is that all?
Is that all? Growing at about 40 to 50,000 a month organically,
wow.
So it's a great place to be and play. And the developers in the community are building everything from anything you can think of, the smallest sensor or radar system to the biggest cloud computing platforms, to any API you can think of, anything from Microsoft friends here from Azure, AWS, to a slew of LoRaWAN solutions and everything in between. And as you alluded to, nobody's really building anything in a silo. Today, the world of IoT is a world of building very specific solutions for specific problems that encompasses a multitude of hardware, software, and services. So Hackster plays in the middle of it in the sense that it helps people learn about all the solutions out there. It helps people learn about projects, what people have built as a showcase across about 50 different types of topics, from robotics to blockchain to sensors, healthcare, etc.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a lot of areas. And it crosses all verticals in terms of applications?
Absolutely all verticals, yeah.
I mean, with 1.3 million, I can't even imagine. And what's the geographical distribution of that developer audience?
It's about, they come from about 150 countries. But
wow.
the largest core, actually in Western Europe, if I look at the block, Western Europe is the biggest component of the Hackster community, then the United States and Canada, and then it gets really kind of distributed around the world with a significant number of developers coming from India, about 12%.
Makes sense.
Yes.
So it sounds like you're the UN of developers.
It is, truly is, which is a good place to be.
That's great. And of course, this success has translated into someone loving your ideas so much they bought you.
That's right.
So maybe you can talk about Avnet a little bit.
Yes, so I'll give Avnet some major props because when they acquired us, we were only at about 100,000 developers.
Wow.
And Avnet had a vision to create like a massive ecosystem for developers, and they empowered us through, financing the operation, as well as introducing us to a slew of new suppliers and partners, anybody from Xilinx to onsemi, etc., to expand what we do. And we grew over 13x in 3 years as being part of Avnet. And what Avnet is trying to do is really really diverse their business from a components and supply chain business to also a solution selling business, a place that can actually work with large companies that do industrial automation or transportation and create solutions from them, be it cloud computing, components, and the supply chain, everything that comes in between, and even developing custom boards and custom solutions for them because they also have manufacturing capabilities. So Hackster is a place for the community to play within that big picture, but the biggest picture is really IoT, solution selling, creating solutions to real problems around the world.
Well, I'll give Avnet a lot of credit because people don't realize there's these companies like Avnet there worth tens of billions of dollars that have millions of customers that frankly already are the ones selling the components needed to build IoT solutions.
Yeah.
And so in adding a Hackster really just helps enable that process to go faster, lower risk, just be more efficient as part of that interaction with their existing and a bigger customer base.
That's right, exactly that.
So it makes a lot of sense.
Yes, it does.
So at CES, Avnet had this nice big booth.
Okay.
And of course, one of the biggest things they were talking about at CES was actually about this new platform for IoT.
That's right.
So maybe you could tell us about that a little bit.
Sure. So as I mentioned, they're changing the company, moving to the future. Avnet acquired a few years ago a company called SoftWeb, which is it's a cloud computing company that has a platform to create, again, it's a solution. You have to build it against a specific problem. To create a full view of your business as far as like talking to your sensors, talking to your data, making sense out of it, creating automation in your business. They couple that capability with the ability to design and engineer brand new boards that are custom built for any company, and creating all the hooks and bringing all the partners to build a solution that can actually get embedded in a company. For example, through SoftWeb, they run a bunch of all the T-Mobile stores in the United States, for example. So that's what they do. So they're trying to really think through exactly what you said. We have all these customers, we're always selling them components. What are they doing with all these components? They're building solutions. Can we be the company that build it for them? Yeah,
it's my old joke about IoT has been, I have a whole house for you. It's down at the big store down here. You just have to put all the boards together and you'll have a house.
Right.
And it's sort of like the way IoT has been. And so anything that helps, with tools to help speed that assembly, I think adds a lot of value. Because again, the whole reason we're doing this is to make money and to solve while solving problems.
Right.
And if you can't get to that point of getting through the technology build, you never get to the monetization part.
Absolutely correct. I think it's such a big point that, especially in the startup world, there's a lot of focus on tech and innovation and invention because that's the energy and the excitement part of it. But without the ability to monetize correctly, your dream will never kind of come to fruition. And I would add another thing, which is really cool to see as you come to an event like this and other industry events, how recent current events in the world and more a global awareness and of understanding how our planet works, that everybody's also trying to create an additional layer to creating things that actually are helpful for the world, that are less wasteful, that are contributing instead of just delivering profit. So the common denominator of profit now has another element of it, of creating like a solution that cleaner, clean tech, things that are helpful, helping either healthcare or food supplies, or simply making this place a little better. And I think it's really exciting to see that as a part of the equation.
Well, I agree, and I don't think it's mutually exclusive anymore. That's the excitement around how far the technology has come. You can actually contribute to all the things you just mentioned, making the world a cleaner place, and still do it very profitably. And I think a great proof point of that, I know Microsoft Azure is a big partner for you guys, and if you look at the announcement from about 10 days ago, where they've announced this huge sustainability initiative, investment of over $1 billion, and I think IoT is a big part of that.
That's right. Yeah. They are doing a great job of really leading and setting that message to the world that business nowadays goes hand in hand. It goes in parallel now with the environment. It's no longer something we can just do in a vacuum of it. And in fact, particularly in the world of hardware, and you can see what we see, we're looking at the wall full of unbelievable components and technologies that are powered by LoRaWAN, that there's a consequence for building hardware. The consequence starts in the beginning, it's mining, and the end is waste. So everything, if you build it, thinking through, making the world a little better, and that's what Microsoft is trying to, the message they're sending, it's a great thing to be in.
It's a fantastic initiative, and I think that's the leadership that allows everyone else to also participate.
Correct, yeah.
And really sets the trend. So last question for you. You probably get to see and talk to more developers in the course of a year than any human being on Earth.
Yeah.
And so what advice do you have for them? What do you see as the common mistakes they make when they sort of jump in to say, they're super technical, but they have an idea. What advice would you give them to help, really make the most out of pursuing that dream of an idea?
So thank you for this question, because I'm very passionate about this question, because I've started several companies. I sold 2 companies, and I've learned really painfully that through being super innovative, tech is very exciting. It's almost as a form of art, and you get sucked into the buildability of it. The process is fascinating. The attention you get is awesome. When you see customers deploy it, it's the greatest joy you can have. But often a lot of us entrepreneurs and even a product manager within companies really forget and neglect the business model, something you touched on earlier, how to correctly monetize. And business models are, it's just a used kind of term. People say a business model, but truly it's an ecosystem of understanding how do you monetize today, tomorrow, what does value looks like to you and your customer, because without it, there's actually not a lot of foundation to what you create, and then things either diminish or create painful losses often, and are just kind of like a waste of time and energy. And time is really something you don't get back in your life. So my greatest tip is to step back and think about everything that you build and all the beauty you're going to bring to the world, but how does it sustain itself before anything? Because without that basic, you can't. You don't have a life, beyond that. So that's my greatest tip: business model mapping.
This is romantic talk where I come from, because I spend half my time advising on business models and commercialization. And the way I explain it is, if you want to keep doing these things you love to do, making this contribution, you have to make money along the way to pay for it.
Yes.
And so they actually go hand in hand. One is not exclusive of the other.
Yes.
And by making money, you actually get to do more good with what you're developing.
Correct. Absolutely. Yeah.
So
it's not a dirty word.
Not at all. Not at all. But anyway, Adam Benzion from Hackster, thank you for your time here at the Things Conference.
I appreciate it.
I'll see you.
Bye.